I died, choking on my own rage. My heart exploding like a grenade in my chest as the bank repo men dragged me out of the house I'd built with my bare hands. Emily's face flashed in my mind, my sweet girl. The one I'd sacrificed everything for, smirking over cocktails with Jake as they toasted to the fortune they'd stolen from me. And then, nothing. Blackness. Until I woke up gasping in my own bed, the alarm clock blinking 7:15 a.m. On that cursed Tuesday morning, 3 months before it all went to hell, my body young and whole again, the loan papers still unsigned on the kitchen table. It hit me like a freight train. This wasn't a dream. I'd been given a do-over. A second shot at the life they'd ripped away. My hands trembled as I touched my face, feeling the smooth skin of the Vivian who'd trusted too much, loved too hard. Emily was downstairs humming some pop tune. Jake's laughter booming from the living room. They had no idea. But I did. Every betrayal, every lie, etched into my soul like acid. This time, I wouldn't be the fool. This time, I'd make them pay. The air smelled of fresh coffee and Emily's vanilla shampoo, the same domestic bliss that had blinded me before. I stumbled down the stairs, my bare feet cold on the hardwood I'd sanded myself after Tom died. There she was, my daughter, 28 and radiant, flipping pancakes in that frilly apron I'd bought her for Mother's Day. Jake lounged at the island, scrolling his phone, his broad shoulders straining against a polo shirt that screamed successful entrepreneur. They looked so normal. So loving.
God.
How I'd fallen for it.
Mom.
You're up early, Emily chirped, sliding a plate my way. Her eyes, the same hazel as mine, sparkled with that practiced innocence. Big day today.
Right?
The meeting with the bank. My stomach twisted. The meeting? Where they'd convinced me to co-sign that can't-miss real estate flip in downtown Seattle. $900,000. My name on the dotted line. Their golden ticket to absconding with the cash for Jake's shady crypto scheme. In my first life, I'd signed without a second thought, believing in their dreams because mine had died with Tom. Cancer took him 5 years ago, leaving me with a modest inheritance, this creaky craftsman house in Ballard, and Emily, the light of my world. Yeah, I managed, forcing a smile that felt like cracking glass. Big day. Jake glanced up, his grin all teeth and charm, the kind that had hooked investors before vanishing with their money. I knew now he'd done time in Arizona for wire fraud, a juvie record expunged but not erased from my vengeful memory. Emily didn't know. Or maybe she did. That was the knife twist I'd uncovered too late last time. She'd helped bury it, forging documents to keep his past buried deeper than my trust. As we ate, small talk flowed like syrup, Emily gushing about their wedding plans, the one they'd funded with my ruin. Jake pitching the deal with animated hands. Viv. This flip? It's gold. Waterfront condos. Pre-sales through the roof. We just need your cosign to seal it. Your credit's rock solid after all these years. Rock solid. Yeah. Until it tanked, burying me under debt I couldn't climb out of. I'd lost the house. My savings ended up in a studio apartment slurping ramen while they jetted to Cabo. My heart attack came during eviction, paramedics finding me clutching a photo of Emily's high school graduation. I nodded, playing the part. Sounds promising. Let's see those papers after breakfast. Their eyes lit up. Conspiratorial. Little did they know, I'd spent my death plotting. Revenge wasn't a sprint, It was a marathon of calculated steps. First, gather intel. I'd start by digging into Jake's past. Quietly, without tipping my hand. Emily was collateral, my blood. My weakness. But blood didn't mean blind loyalty anymore. After they left for their errand, code for schmoozing the banker they'd bribed, I locked the door and fired on my laptop. Tom's old Dell, still chugging like a faithful mule. My fingers flew, searches on Jake Harlan, cross-referenced with the alias J. Harlan from that Arizona bust. Bingo. Court records. Sealed but crackable with a little elbow grease and a free trial on a public database. He'd scammed his own grandmother out of her retirement. Left her homeless. Charming. But the real dirt?
Emily.
I'd remembered fragments last time. Whispers from a PI too late to save me. A quick dive into her emails. Password unchanged since college. Princessum 92 revealed threads with a lawyer about asset protection. They'd planned it from the start. Marry, ingratiate, then leverage my naivety. One email chilled me. Mom's a sucker. Sign the loan. Then ghost to Mexico if it blows. My chest tightened, but not from fear, from fury. I printed it all, stashed in a fireproof box under the floorboards. Step 1, evidence. Step 2, allies. I needed someone on the inside. That's when I thought of Marcus, the banker. In my first life, he'd been the one to warn me. Too late. His voice cracking over the phone as collectors hounded me. A decent guy. Divorced. With a soft spot for widows. I'd call him. Feign enthusiasm. But plant seeds of doubt. The afternoon blurred into reconnaissance. I drove to the bank in my trusty Subaru. The one they'd borrowed and never returned last time. Marcus greeted me with a warm handshake. His tie askew as always. Vivian, Emily mentioned you'd stop by. Excited for the Harlan project.
Thrilled, I lied.
Sliding into his office. We chatted, small talk about the Mariners' slim playoff hopes. The rain that never quit in Seattle. Then, casual as coffee refills, Jake's got quite the resume. Ever run a deep background on him? Marcus paused, eyes narrowing. Why do you ask? Just curious. Tom's passing made me cautious. I let vulnerability creep in. The widow's card. It worked. He pulled up the file, frowning at the red flags. Some irregularities from his youth. But nothing current. Keep digging? I suggested. My voice honeyed. For peace of mind? He nodded, promising discretion. As I left, my phone buzzed. Emily. Mom, dinner at 7? Jake's grilling steaks.
Perfect.
Time to turn up the heat. That evening, the backyard buzzed with normalcy. String lights twinkled over the patio, the grill smoking with ribeyes. Neighbors waved from across the fence, oblivious to the viper's nest. Emily poured wine, too much. Always her way of loosening tongues. Jake dominated the conversation, spinning yarns about his startup days in Silicon Valley knockoffs. I sipped slowly, watching. Tell me more about that Arizona gig.
Jake.
Emily mentioned you flipped houses there. His fork paused midair, but he recovered with a laugh. Ancient history.
Viv.
Learned the ropes the hard way. Hard way. Understatement. I pressed gently. Heard you had a rough patch. Family stuff. Emily shot me a look, sharp. Warning.
Mom.
Let's not dredge up old dirt. But Jake waved it off. Ego his Achilles.
Nah.
It's fine. Grandma was a tough bird. We patched things up.
Lies.
The old woman died penniless, cursing his name from a hospice bed. As night fell, I excused myself early, claiming a headache. In bed, I plotted deeper. Tomorrow, the meeting. I'd sign, but with a twist, a contingency clause I'd slip in, courtesy of a quick online legal template. If payments defaulted, the loan reverted to them personally. Assets frozen. Child's play for a woman reborn. Days blurred into a tense waltz. The signing went smooth. They beamed as the notary stamped it. You're the best, Mom. Emily hugged me, her perfume cloying. Jake clapped my back. Family first. Right?
Right.
I smiled, pocketing copies laced with trackers, digital watermarks I'd embedded. Invisible to amateurs.
Now.
Wait for the unraveling. 2 weeks in, cracks showed. Jake's investors ghosted. The flip stalled. Emily's calls grew frantic. Mom, everything's fine.
But.
Could you cover a payment? Just this once. I feigned concern, wiring a pittance while monitoring their accounts, hacked via a shady app from a forum. Ethics be damned in revenge. Funds funneled to offshore crypto wallets. Classic Jake. Marcus called. Vivian. That background? It's worse than I thought. Embezzlement charges dropped, but witnesses recanted, paid off. Looks like. Emily, no. I whispered. Doesn't seem so. But she's signing off on transfers. The knife twisted deeper. My girl. Complicit. I confronted her alone one rainy afternoon. Coffee steaming between us.
Ink.
What's going on with the loan? Her eyes darted. It's temporary. Jake's got it handled. Like your emails say. Goes to Mexico? She blanched. Color draining.
You. How?
Doesn't matter.
Why?
Emily, I gave you everything. Tears welled. But no denial. He loves me.
Mom.
We needed the start. You had the house. The safety net. We didn't. Rage boiled. But I reined it. Safety net? That's what you call your mother's life. She crumbled, sobbing. I'm sorry. We'll pay it back.
Lies.
I knew the script. But this time, I'd rewrite the ending. The confession hung in the air like Seattle fog, thick and suffocating. Emily's sobs echoed off the kitchen tiles, but I felt no pity, only the cold calculus of a woman who'd danced with death. Sorry doesn't cut it. Kiddo, I said, voice steady as steel. But I'll help. One condition, full transparency. Show me the books. Her relief was palpable. A gasp of drowning gratitude. She pulled out her laptop, fingers trembling as she opened spreadsheets riddled with Jake's sleight of hand, falsified invoices, phantom expenses. There it was, $200,000 siphoned to a Cayman account, labeled contingency fund. For their escape. No doubt. I memorized it all, nodding sympathetically. We'll fix this.
Together.
Lies of my own. Sweet as pie. That night, I emailed the files to Marcus anonymously. With a nudge, check the transfers. Whistleblower. The next morning, Jake stormed in, face thunderous. What the hell? Viv, banks freezing the account. Some bullshit audit. I sipped my tea. feigning shock. Audit? On our loan. Emily hovered, wringing her hands.
Mom.
We need to borrow more. Just to tide us over.
Borrow.
From whom? The word ignited something primal. In my first life, I'd remortgaged the house. Sold Tom's watch collection, his last gift. Engraved with "Forever Yours." All for their tide over, which turned into a tsunami drowning me. No, I said simply. Their stares bored into me. Disbelief. Then anger. No, Jake echoed, leaning in too close. His cologne a mask for desperation. We're family. Family doesn't forge signatures on side deals. I slid a printout across the table, the Cayman transfer, time-stamped yesterday. Emily's gasp was genuine this time. Jake's jaw clenched. Where'd you get that? Doesn't matter. Fix it, or I walk. He laughed. Bitter. Walk. You're in up to your eyeballs. Cosigner.
Ah. The bluff.
My contingency clause kicked in silently last night. I'd faxed amendments to the bank, citing fraudulent inducement. Legalese I devoured in my limbo hours. By dawn, the loan was solely theirs. You first, I countered.
Standing.
Or I call the cops. The standoff crackled. Electric. Emily pleaded.
Mom. Please.
He's trying. Trying to scam widows and orphans. More like. But I softened for her, my Achilles.
Still.
One chance. Liquidate the crypto. Pay it back. Jake stormed out, tires screeching. Emily stayed, crumbling into explanations, how he'd charmed her post-college. Promised the world after my grief isolated me. You were so lost after Dad. I wanted to make you proud.
Proud.
The word stung. I'd raised her on bedtime stories of Tom's heroism, a firefighter lost to the flames, but she'd twisted it into entitlement. Still, blood whispered mercy. I hugged her, whispering, we'll get through. But no more secrets. Lies again. Mercy was a luxury I couldn't afford. As weeks ticked by,
the pressure mounted.
Jake's network crumbled. Angry voicemails piled up from jilted partners. Emily confided in me nightly, her loyalty fracturing. He's hiding calls.
Mom.
Late nights at the office. I encouraged her doubts.
Subtly.
Trust your gut.
Eminencia.
Like I taught you. Meanwhile, I built my fortress. A new will. Assets in a trust. Irrevocable. Untouchable. A PI on retainer. Tailing Jake to seedy bars where he met lowlifes. Photos arrived. Him handing envelopes. Whispers of a bigger con. A Ponzi targeting retirees. The twist came on a crisp October evening. Marcus called. Voice hushed. Vivian. It's bad. Jake's linked to a ring, ID theft. Elder fraud. Your loan? It's the tip. And Emily. She's signing affidavits. But I think she's being coerced.
Coerced.
Or complicit. My PI confirmed. Hidden camera feeds showed her shredding docs. But also Jake's hand guiding hers. The girl I raised. Or the monster he'd molded. I decided then. Divide and conquer. Confront Jake alone. Force a confession on record. Risky? Hell yes. Controversial? In America's cutthroat game of family versus fortune, it was downright American, ruthless self-preservation. He showed at the house unannounced, rain-slicked and snarling. You think you're smart, old lady? Stirring shit with a bank. I met his glare from the doorway. Phone hidden in my pocket.
Recording.
Smarter than you. Fraud boy. Arizona was just the appetizer. His fist clenched, violence flickered. But he reined it. Smirking. You got nothing. Emily's mine. She'll testify it's all legit. Will she? I stepped closer. Heart pounding but voice ice. Or will she learn about the grandmother you bankrupted? The one who hanged herself in her garage. Bluff. I'd exaggerated the suicide. Heart attack. Actually, but it landed. His eyes widened, then narrowed to slits. You digging? Big mistake. Threats now? Cute. I hit play on my phone. Marcus's voice spilling. Embezzlement. Coercion. Jake lunged, but I sidestepped, slamming the door. Sirens wailed distant. Neighbors tip off. My doing. He pounded, roaring obscenities. You'll regret this. Viv. Family's everything. Not yours, I yelled back. Not anymore. Cops hauled him away that night. Aggravated assault charge. Easy bait. Emily arrived hysterical, cradling me like I was the child. What happened? Is he? Gone, I soothed. For now. Her breakdown was epic, sobs turning to rage at him, vows to testify. But in her eyes, I saw the flicker, resentment at me, for appending her fairy tale.
Fine.
Let it simmer. Interrogation leaked via Marcus. Jake cracked, spilling the ring's guts. Feds swooped, freezing assets. The loan? Seized as evidence. Emily's name dragged through the mud. Accomplice. They called her. She turned on me then, in the sterile glow of my living room. You set him up. My husband. He set us up, I corrected. You too. Liar. You never liked him. Jealous of our life. Jealous. Of a house of cards? But the accusation hit home. Had I, in my grief, pushed her into his arms?
No.
Excuses wouldn't fly. This was payback.
Pure.
Get out, I said. Until you see the truth. She left in a whirlwind, slamming doors. Alone. I poured whiskey, Tom's favorite, and toasted to ghosts. Step 3. The kill shot. November winds howled like banshees through Ballard streets, stripping leaves bare as my patience. Emily had ghosted, ironic. Given her old email plots, holed up in a motel, dodging subpoenas. Jake rotted in county. Bail denied after his rap sheet unfurled like a bad joke. The feds raided their apartment, unearthing ledgers of lies. Dozens scammed. Lives upended. My loan? The linchpin. But thanks to my clauses, I walked clean. Reporters sniffed around. Seattle's underbelly hungry for scandal. Widow battles son-in-law's empire of fraud, screamed the PI. I stonewalled. But leaks painted me the hero, reluctant whistleblower. Doting mom betrayed. Offers rolled in. Book deals. TED Talks on elder abuse. Tempting. But revenge wasn't for applause. It was for restitution. Marcus became my anchor. Lunches stretching into evenings at waterfront dives. Your force. Viv, he'd say. Clinking glasses. His laugh lines crinkled, reminding me of Tom's solid. Unflashy. Flirtation sparked. Controversial in my vendetta haze. Was it betrayal to move on?
Hell no.
Life's too short, especially with a second lap. But Emily loomed. A specter. Her lawyer called. Plea deal in play? Immunity for testimony against Jake.
She wants to see you, the suit droned.
Reconciliation. I agreed. Neutral ground. A park bench overlooking Puget Sound. Gulls wheeling like judgment. She arrived gaunt, hoodie swallowing her frame, eyes red-rimmed.
Mom.
One word. Laced with everything. Plea. Poison. Plea again.
Sit, I said.
Waves lapped. Indifferent. She did. Words tumbling. I didn't know how deep it went. He said it was victimless, rich marks, no harm. Victimless. Like me, when you pushed.
I saw.
The emails. The plans. It was him.
But I
went along. Complicit. The word hung unspoken.
Why?
Love. She laughed.
Hollow.
Or fear. Of being nothing. Like after Dad. You were the rock, I was the crack. My throat tightened. Tom's death had fractured us, me retreating into work at the library, her fleeing to college parties. Jake filled the void, a charming void. Had I failed her? The thought gnawed. But I shoved it down. Blame was a boomerang. It'd circle back. Forgive me, she whispered. Controversial choice. Mercy or hammer. America's playbook screamed hammer, prosecute, expose. Let justice grind. But blood sang mercy. A chance for redemption. Maybe, I hedged. Testify clean. Then we talk. Hope flickered in her. We hugged. Brittle as autumn twigs. But as she walked away, my PI texted new photo. Emily. Last night. At Jake's arraignment. Whispering to his lawyer. Slipping a note. Betrayals echo. Or desperation. I chose to watch. The trial loomed. A circus in King County Courthouse. Media swarmed. Cameras flashing like paparazzi at a Kardashian meltdown. I sat front row. Vivian Hargrove, grieving widow, fraud avenger. Jake took the stand, shackled subtly, spinning tales of misunderstandings. His eyes locked on mine, pure venom. Vivian's vendetta, he sneered. Family feud gone toxic. Gasps rippled. The prosecutor objected, but damage done. Emily's turn next, her testimony the pivot. She ascended, voice quavering, but I saw the tells, averted gaze, fidgeting hands. Lies incoming.
I
believed in him, she started. Scripted. Then, deviation. But my mother. She knew the risks. Push the loan. Objection. The courtroom erupted. Judge banging gavel. My blood iced. Perjury. Straight up, twist of the knife.
Pinning it on me.
The prosecutor grilled her. But she doubled down. Mom co-signed willingly. Jake's innocent. It's her regret talking. Regret? For birthing a serpent? Fury blinded me. I stood, voice cutting through chaos. Liar. You forged the addendums. Bailiff restrained me. But the seed planted, jury murmurs. Doubt sown. Recess called. Emily rushed out, avoiding my glare. Jake's smirk from the defense table? Priceless fuel. That night, alone in the house echoing with ghosts, I cracked. Whiskey burned, tears hot. Had revenge warped me into the monster? No, they had. But the line blurred. My hacks, my setups. Vigilante justice. American as apple pie and lynch mobs. Morning brought clarity. I met Marcus at dawn. Coffee steaming in the chill. She's protecting him. Still. He squeezed my hand. Drop it? Let the courts handle? Tempting.
But no.
Final play. The grandmother's diary. I tracked it down, mailed anonymously to the DA. Pages yellowed with Jake's sins. He took my home. My peace. God forgive him. Exhibit A. Emotional dynamite. Trial resumed. Bombshell dropped. Elderly witness, Granny Harlan's neighbor, testified. Diary in hand. Boy's a devil. Drove her to despair. Emily crumbled on cross. I didn't know. But the note from arraignment slipped to Jake's lawyer. Pleading, burn the ledger. Feds had it all. Wiretaps. My recordings. She flipped mid-testimony. Sobbing. It was him. All him. I was scared. Jake's empire imploded. Guilty on all counts. 20 to life. Emily? Lesser charges. Probation. Community service. Mercy. Courtesy of her 11th hour truth. But the real twist? As cuffs clicked on Jake, he lunged toward the bar, screaming at Emily, "You bitch!" For her, she recoiled. Into my arms. Flashbulbs popped. The shot heard, round the headlines.
Outside.
Rain sluiced the steps.
Mom.
Thank you. I held her, but loosely. Trust? Shattered mosaic. Actions.
Iminência.
Not words. Winter clamped Seattle in iron. Holidays a hollow ritual. Christmas lights twinkled mockingly from neighbors' eaves. But my craftsman stood dark, symbol of survival, not celebration. Emily returned sporadically. Probation tethering her to check-ins. Her old room a way station of unpacked boxes. We tiptoe around landmines. Jake's appeals denied. Her therapy sessions, Mom. I was codependent. My unspoken verdict. The loan resolved in my favor. Bank settlement. House retitled. Even a chunk back in my pocket. Vindication tasted like ash. True revenge? Watching her rebuild from scraps. Like I'd had to after Tom. Controversial? Absolutely. Some whispered I was the villain, driving a daughter to ruin for pride. Online trolls dubbed me Vindictive Viv, memes of cackling witches. Let them. In America's meritocracy myth, winners write the narrative. Marcus proposed over New Year's Eve dim sum, clumsy, with chopsticks clattering. Marry me.
Viv.
Second chances all around. I laughed. Tears pricking. Second chances. Mine from beyond the grave, his from a bitter divorce. We wed quietly in spring. Backyard vows under blooming rhododendrons. Emily attended. Matron of honor in thrift store lace. Her smile genuine but edged. Happy for you, Mom. Was she? Nightmares whispered no. Visions of her plotting anew. Jake's shadow lingering. But therapy unearthed her truth. Not malice, but mimicry. She'd aped his greed to fill my void. Post-up. Forgiveness? A work in progress. The real chow Treo brewed in summer heat. Jake's appeal hearing a farce. He subpoenaed me. Last gasp. Vivian Hargrove. Did you entrap me? Courtroom redux. But I strode in armored, tailored suit. Head high. Entrap? You entrapped yourself. Mr. Harlan. With lies and ledgers. His cross-examination devolved into rant. She poisoned Emily against me. Brainwashed her own blood. Emily. In the gallery. Tensed. Then, unbidden, she stood. Objection. She's my mother. You're the poison. Chaos. Judge cleared the room. Jake's lawyer folded. Appeal crushed. Sentence upheld. As marshals dragged him, he spat. This ain't over.
Viv.
Blood's thicker, but yours? It's weak. Weak. I'd forged it in fire. Twist. Post-hearing. Emily confessed the deepest cut. Mom. Before the trial, I almost ran. With him. Had tickets to Vancouver. My heart stuttered. Why didn't you? Your face. That night you confronted him. You looked unbreakable. Like Dad. Unbreakable. Tom's legacy. Reclaimed. I pulled her close. Rain starting anew, cleansing. Maybe. Then stay. Build something real. She nodded.
Tentative.
We drove home in silence. Radio crooning Springsteen, trapped in the belly of a secret, hidden in a thundercloud.
Fitting.
Months blurred into normalcy's fragile weave. Emily landed a job, paralegal. Ironic twist, at a nonprofit aiding fraud victims. Marcus and I renovated the house, knocking out walls for openness. No more secrets buried in floorboards. But revenge's shadow lingers. Jake's letters arrive from Walla Walla, rambling pleas. Then threats veiled as family advice. I burn them, ashes to wind. One autumn eve, as leaves gilded the yard, Emily knocked, hesitant. Mom?
Can we talk?
Always. We sat on the porch swing Tom built, creaking like old bones. I'm pregnant, she said.
Hand on belly.
Adopting out.
But.
I want you involved. Grandmother. Grandmother. The word bloomed. Terror and joy tangled. Controversial choice redux. Welcome the innocent. Or wall off the wounded. I chose life messy. American. Unbowed. Yes, I whispered.
Te achem better.
She leaned in, our hands linking scarred, but healing. Jake's ghost faded. Not gone, but diminished. I'd won, not with hammers, but heartbeats reborn. In the end, they never expected mercy's blade, sharper than vengeance. Or maybe, just maybe, that's the truest revenge, living fuller, loving fiercer, leaving the betrayers to their cages. As the sun dipped, painting the sound gold, I felt Tom's whisper, forever yours, and for once, I believed it.